The year is 1939, and Europe teeters on the edge of chaos as dictators' ambitions cast a long shadow. On September 1st, 1939, Germany's blitzkrieg on Poland shatters peace, igniting World War II. The 1930s saw the rise of totalitarian regimes in Germany, Italy, and Japan, setting the stage for global conflict. The 1930s saw bold actions by Axis powers, testing democracies and pushing the world closer to war. The Munich Agreement of 1938, meant to secure peace, only emboldened Hitler, leading to further aggression. Germany's blitzkrieg tactics swiftly overran Poland and France, leaving Britain to stand alone against the Nazi war machine. Operation Barbarossa in 1941 saw Germany's massive invasion of the Soviet Union, leading to brutal battles like Stalingrad. Allied victories in North Africa and the D-Day invasion of Normandy in 1944 marked turning points in the war. The attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, propelled the United States into World War II, transforming it into a global conflict. Section 2, Turning the Tide, the Battle of Midway. The Battle of Midway, fought just 6 months after the attack on Pearl Harbor, proved to be a pivotal turning point in the Pacific War. This epic clash of carriers, fought near the strategically vital island of Midway Atoll, marked the beginning of the end for Japanese naval dominance in the Pacific. The Japanese, emboldened by their string of early victories, sought to capture Midway as a staging ground for further attacks on Hawaii and the American West Coast. However, American codebreakers had intercepted and deciphered Japanese naval codes, giving Admiral Chester Nimitz, Commander-in-Chief of the Pacific Fleet, a crucial advantage. Nimitz, aware of the impending Japanese attack, skillfully positioned his limited forces, including 3 aircraft carriers, the USS Enterprise, USS Hornet, and USS Yorktown, to ambush the Japanese fleet. The battle commenced on the morning of June 4, 1942, as Japanese carrier aircraft, launched from 4 carriers, attacked Midway Atoll. American aircraft, alerted to the Japanese attack, were already in the air, searching for the enemy fleet. In a remarkable stroke of luck, American dive bombers from the Enterprise and Yorktown found the Japanese carriers with their decks full of aircraft, preparing for a second strike on Midway. In a matter of minutes, American dive bombers crippled 3 Japanese carriers, the Akagi, Kaga, and Soryu, transforming them into blazing infernos. The 4th Japanese carrier, the Hiryu, was later sunk by American aircraft. The Battle of Midway, a stunning victory for the United States Navy, marked a turning point in the Pacific War. The Japanese lost 4 aircraft carriers, their most valuable assets, along with hundreds of aircraft and thousands of experienced pilots and sailors. Following their victory at Midway, the United States, now firmly on the offensive in the Pacific, adopted a strategy of island hopping, a grueling campaign of capturing key islands and airfields, gradually pushing the Japanese back towards their home islands. The island hopping campaign was characterized by fierce fighting, often at close quarters, as American Marines and soldiers faced a determined and fanatical Japanese enemy, entrenched in heavily fortified positions. The battles for Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Saipan, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa were among the bloodiest and most costly of the war. Japanese soldiers, indoctrinated with a warrior code of Bushido that emphasized death before dishonor, fought with suicidal tenacity, often refusing to surrender even when facing certain defeat. The battles for Iwo Jima and Okinawa in particular were marked by horrific casualties on both sides. Iwo Jima, a small volcanic island just 750 miles south of Tokyo, was defended by over 20,000 Japanese soldiers, dug into an elaborate network of tunnels and bunkers. The battle for the island, which raged for over a month, cost the lives of over 6,800 American Marines and over 20,000 Japanese soldiers. Okinawa, the last major battle of the Pacific War, was even more costly. The battle for this strategic island, located just 350 miles south of the Japanese home islands, raged for 82 days from April to June 1945. Over 12,500 American soldiers and sailors were killed, along with over 110,000 Japanese soldiers and tens of thousands of Okinawan civilians. The island-hopping campaign, though costly, gradually eroded Japanese strength and morale, bringing the Allies closer to their ultimate goal of invading the Japanese home islands. The Second World War was ignited by the ambitions of a small group of men driven by ideologies of hate and conquest. At the forefront stood Adolf Hitler, the Führer of Nazi Germany, a charismatic demagogue who seized control of one of the most powerful countries in Europe. Allied with Hitler was Benito Mussolini, Il Duce of Fascist Italy, who sought to revive the glories of the Roman Empire. Completing this triumvirate was Emperor Hirohito of Japan, the figurehead of a militaristic regime bent on establishing Japanese hegemony in Asia. These leaders, driven by twisted ideologies, would drag the world into a conflict that left an indelible scar on humanity. Standing against the onslaught of Axis aggression was an alliance of nations as diverse as the ideologies they represented, united by a common enemy and a shared determination to defend freedom and democracy. Leading the Allied effort was a trio of statesmen who would come to embody the spirit of resistance against tyranny. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the charismatic and politically astute President of the United States. Winston Churchill, the bulldog-like Prime Minister of Great Britain, whose soaring rhetoric and unwavering resolve rallied his nation in its darkest hour. And Joseph Stalin, the ruthless dictator of the Soviet Union, whose vast armies bore the brunt of the Nazi war machine on the Eastern Front. Roosevelt, stricken by polio but undeterred in his leadership, guided the United States out of the Great Depression and into the war, transforming the nation into the arsenal of democracy, supplying its allies with the weapons and resources they desperately needed to combat the Axis threat. Churchill, a master orator and strategist, rallied the British people with his defiant speeches, his words a beacon of hope in a world consumed by darkness. His unwavering belief in ultimate victory, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds, inspired his nation and the world. Stalin, a figure of immense power and brutality, led the Soviet Union with an iron fist, his Red Army, though initially caught off guard by the Nazi invasion, fighting with a ferocity born of desperation and a deep-seated patriotism. These three leaders, despite their ideological differences and often conflicting agendas, forged a fragile alliance that would ultimately prove to be stronger than the forces that sought to destroy them. Their leadership, forged in the crucible of war, would shape the course of the conflict and the post-war world. On battlefields across the globe, battlefield commanders directed armies, made split-second decisions, and inspired troops to acts of courage and sacrifice. Generals like Dwight D. Eisenhower and Douglas MacArthur masterminded campaigns that led to Axis defeat. Eisenhower oversaw the D-Day invasion and the campaign to liberate Western Europe. MacArthur led the island-hopping campaign in the Pacific, vowing to return to the Philippines. Axis generals like Erwin Rommel and Erich von Manstein conducted brilliant campaigns. Rommel's audacity in North Africa inflicted defeats on British forces. Manstein masterminded the German victory in the Battle of France and defended on the Eastern Front. These commanders shaped the war's course, inspiring their troops and shaping nations' destinies. As the flames of World War II engulfed the globe, casting long shadows across continents, a small island in the Caribbean found itself drawn into the vortex of this global conflagration. Puerto Rico, a U.S. territory since 1898, occupied a strategically vital position in the Caribbean Sea, guarding the approaches to the Panama Canal, a lifeline for Allied shipping. The island, home to a vibrant culture and a people proud of their heritage, became a hub of military activity, its harbors bustling with warships and its airfields teeming with aircraft. Puerto Rican men and women answered the call to duty, enlisting in the U.S. Armed Forces in droves, eager to contribute to the fight against tyranny. They served with distinction in all branches of the military, fighting in the trenches of Europe, the jungles of the Pacific, and the skies above both. Their courage and sacrifice earned them the respect of their comrades and contributed to the Allied victory. However, the war also exposed the complexities of Puerto Rico's relationship with the United States. As an unincorporated territory, Puerto Ricans were U.S. citizens, subject to the draft and eligible to serve in the military, yet they lacked full political rights, including the right to vote for president or to have voting representation in Congress. This disparity, highlighted by the sacrifices made by Puerto Ricans during the war, fueled a growing movement for greater autonomy and self-determination on the island. The decades following World War II witnessed a complex and often contentious debate in Puerto Rico over its political future. The island, caught between its cultural ties to Latin America and its political and economic links to the United States, grappled with the question of its identity and its place in the world. Various movements emerged, advocating for different political statuses, ranging from statehood, which would grant Puerto Ricans full U.S. citizenship rights and representation in Congress, to independence, which would sever the island's political ties with the United States. The debate over Puerto Rico's status has been a recurring theme in the island's history, reflecting the complexities of its relationship with the United States. Supporters of statehood argue that it would grant Puerto Ricans full political equality and economic opportunities. They point to the island's long history with the United States, its shared values, and its contributions to American society. Opponents of statehood, on the other hand, argue that it would erode Puerto Rican culture and identity, assimilating the island into the American mainstream and diminishing its unique heritage. They advocate for greater autonomy or outright independence, allowing Puerto Rico to chart its own course. The debate over Puerto Rico's status remains unresolved, a testament to the complexities of this enduring issue. The island, with its rich history, vibrant culture, and strategic importance, continues to grapple with its political future, seeking a path that balances its ties to the United States with its aspirations for self-determination. World War II, the deadliest conflict in human history, reshaped the geopolitical landscape and ushered in a new era. The war's end in 1945 brought relief and the daunting task of rebuilding shattered lives and nations. The world that emerged was vastly different from the one that had existed just a few years prior. Old empires crumbled, giving rise to new superpowers and a bipolar world order. The horrors of the Holocaust led to the creation of the United Nations and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Yet, the seeds of future conflict were being sown. The wartime alliance quickly dissolved into mistrust, giving rise to the Cold War. The war spurred technological advancements with profound implications for peacetime society. It also challenged traditional gender roles and sparked movements for civil rights and social justice. World War II left an enduring legacy, shaping the world we live in today. As we face the challenges of the 21st century, it remains essential to remember the lessons of that conflict.